Hi guys, it's Jessica and it is day one. I hope that you are checking in to the nutrition starter course every single day. Don't feel like you have to make like huge posts or, extra comments or whatever of your own. I really want you to watch every video this week and please comment if you can under each video or under each slide. So the way we did it today, there's a morning post. I have a slide on there and some information above it. And usually a comment or a question is suggested to be answered in the comments. So if you can do that, I get to know even more about you. You all filled out the questionnaire, which is very helpful to help me kind of plan out the best way to get you your answers this week. And also, we get to know each other a little bit better, and you might realize that you relate to more people than you realized, or we might have other information that can help somebody else out in the group. Because I certainly don't have all the answers, but I have so much to give you this week. And ever since I've kind of put this group or this information together, I've been, really motivated to run these short 5-day groups. There'll probably be some bonus information on Saturday as well. And I plan to leave the group open for a couple of weeks just so that you have time to go back and read and watch all of the videos and read the information. And, go back and watch it again if you need to, just to kind of soak it all in. I'm going to try to keep the videos no longer than 30 minutes just so, it doesn't take up too much time. I know I have 3 kids. I work from home as a lifestyle coach focusing on health and nutrition and just behavior change to get to rock those goals that you have as far as, feeling better, having more energy, losing weight. I have been myself on a path of healthier living for over 5 years now. And I initially lost almost 50 pounds and I've either kept it off or got it back off after pregnancies every time, and just kind of found my healthy weight, and my strength and toneness kind of fluctuates with whatever workout program I'm following. But I do it all at home. I am a PiYo Live instructor and teach at a gym 2 days a week. I kind of put a pause on that when I was pregnant and we lost our daughter at 32 weeks very suddenly, and we still don't know why it happened. So we've had some time to kind of work through some things and just, try to just move forward. We're not moving on. Her name was Nora, and she's very much still a part of our family, but I'm moving on as if I don't have a newborn. So I'm working on my body. I just finished 3 weeks of following the Ultimate Reset, which is a nutrition focused program. And it was actually created by the author of this book, Darren O'Lean, which is my inspiration for this group, and so many other things that I learn and have learned in the past about just healthier eating, healthier habits, all that stuff has come from this guy. So if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook, his pages are called Super Life, and basically the title is Super Life: the 5 simple fixes that will make you healthy, fit, and eternally awesome. He just has a lot of great insights. So he is technically a vegan now, but he hasn't always been that way. And just like he states in his book, I'm not trying to convince you to eat any certain way. My main motivation for this group is to give you as much information as I can and let you figure out what works best for you. There's no one right way to do anything. But before 5 years ago, it was around the time my daughter turned 1 when I discovered, just kind of, exploring more about what nutrition was. And somebody, mentioned to me about clean eating. That somebody became my coach who helped me learn so much about it, who helped me learn to love exercise. I wasn't a big fitness person before. I hated to sweat. Yoga was like the extent of my workouts besides walking, taking walks outside, because I just hated it. But there were so many little things that I changed, and a lot of it was my mindset. So when my mindset changed, along with my daily behaviors changing, a lot started changing, and it just kind of snowballed, and it's just a new way of living my lifestyle. So it was very hard after our loss, but I still wanted to eat healthier. I wanted to not go too long without keeping my nutrition in focus, because I know the difference in how I feel. I know the difference it makes for my overall health, not just for now, but for the future. So for me to like just turn my back on all that I knew and go back to my old ways of eating, or, you know, drinking too much or eating whatever I wanted to, I just couldn't do that for that long. So I followed a meal plan for 3 weeks and really, really cut down on sugar. I still had some bites, licks, and tastes, you know, in there. It was really hard to just be super strict on this program. Like, I've done it twice before this time, and I could stick to it a little bit better. But eating is so emotional, and what my goal is for you this week is to not only understand the why it's important to eat clean and to learn about nutrition, but to also kind of identify your feelings, your connection emotionally to eating, so that you can actually separate that. Because once you're able to separate that, you'll be able to kind of take control and not be this emotional thing. So I'm just going to go over a few key points from he calls them the life forces, and there's 5 of them that he talks about. The first one is nutrition. So there won't be necessarily a different life force every day. Some of them might be combined, and I'm just taking the most important information from each one to kind of share. But the first one is nutrition, and it's the foundation for living a healthy lifestyle. You know, your food eats food before you eat it. So whether it's plants and it eats sunlight and water and air, you know, we obviously know animals eat food on top of that as well, the water, the air, and the sunlight, and then we eat that. So everything that we eat has eaten and consumed stuff before we eat it. So you have to remember that and think about it. And I know you've seen those documentaries out there. Maybe you've not watched them, but you've seen about them as far as, you know, the animal, you know, food industry and stuff, that it kind of raises some eyebrows on, you know, how the animals are treated, what they're eating, what they're being injected with, you know, what all is going on with them before they turn into food for us. Because it all breaks down to our bodies. Just like when, you know, moms are growing babies, whatever you eat becomes, you know, what that baby eats, right? It's the same thing now, you know, with you as an adult. It's just you're putting the things into your body. So everything, like your skin, your blood, your organs, all that stuff down on the cellular level dies and regenerates constantly. And whatever it, you know, gets for fuel is how it regenerates. So if you're putting, you know, processed foods in your body that are very nutritionally depleted, if you're putting in animal proteins that were injected with, you know, growth hormones, or even fruits and veggies that were exposed to pesticides, or other genetically modified, you know, organism stuff, it's, you know, your bodies aren't getting the stuff it needs to, you know, regenerate your cells into a healthy form. So it's not exactly sure what to do with it. So when that stuff goes into your body has to recognize it to know what to do with it, because all of our organs have a function. And when your body doesn't recognize, you know, if you look at the ingredients, we're going to talk a little more about clean eating, pretty much touch on it a little bit every day. And then by the weekend, I'm going to talk even more about it, because I'm very passionate about everyone just understanding what clean eating means. And really all it boils down to is reading ingredients on packaged foods, like knowing what you're eating. And if you look at ingredients, a lot of packaged items, there's all these words that you don't even know what they are. Before 5.5 years ago, I didn't, or I guess it's almost 6 years ago now, I've been reading ingredients on things I buy to know what they are. And realizing that the eating whole foods as much as possible is way better than eating processed foods, because your body can recognize those things. You know, think about like how our bodies were way back in the day. It didn't have, you know, donuts and boxed cereal and, you know, all these different crazy breads and crackers and chips and processed meats and all this stuff. So now if we're eating those things, our bodies aren't sure what to do with it. So a lot of times, even though they might not be really dense calorically, have a lot of calories, if there's ingredients in there, especially if they're chemicals and our bodies don't know what to do with them, they actually kind of get trapped in our bodies, like in our fat cells, and make our fat cells grow, or at least not shrink anymore, because it's storing all these additives in there, these extra ingredients. So what I found when I started eating clean, I wasn't even really working out that much yet, and I wasn't eating like super, super healthy. It wasn't like I was eating a salad every day. I was just started paying attention to like salad dressings that I would buy. I stopped buying salad dressing because there was like sugar and all kinds of stuff, that was like a huge quantity of that dressing. So I started making my own dressings, or just using olive oil, which is like super easy to do. Get one of those little olive oil sprayers, use some olive oil and some salt and pepper, and you're good to go. A lot of it will take time for your taste buds to adjust to eating a little cleaner, because processed stuff is enhanced with sugar, usually salt, usually the sodium's pretty high, and there might be some added natural flavors. We'll get into more specifics about like ingredients to avoid when you're buying packaged items to try to eat cleaner. But one of them is natural flavors, which you would think like, oh, it's natural flavor. But did you know that they can call, it's like the natural flavor can be a lot of different things. Some things, it's like crushed up red bugs they use for like red dye in foods. And they can call it natural because it's an insect. Or insects that they use for the coloring. So, you just never know. You never know what's in your food. They also, for raspberry flavoring, they can use beaver anal gland juice. I just said that, and it's true. It's gross. For a lot of like even naturally flavored raspberry stuff, that is part of the ingredients for natural flavors. So, you can't just blindly eat whatever tastes good to you and expect to lose weight, even if you're just paying attention to the calories. I tracked my calories for 10 months with MyFitnessPal when I was first learning about clean eating. And, I hated counting calories. I got to where, like, it was easy for me. I was just plug in whatever, and it was fine. And I liked to see, it really opened my eyes to portion control, because I would be eating, especially like those frozen pasta meals and stuff like that. And there's like, 2 or more servings in all of those, which in a lot of foods, packaged foods, if you're not looking at the serving size, more than likely you're eating too much. So as Americans, it's not hard to tell that everybody likes lots of a serving, of their foods. They like more than what they like a good bargain. So if they're going to pay whatever, they want a lot for their money, right? So that includes food, and our plates are huge, our bowls are huge, and, we're just all eating too much. So not only are we possibly eating stuff that's, not even close to the way nature made it, not near a whole food at all. It's processed, or it's, it's got chemicals or whatever, on it when it grows, or added to it when it's processed. But it also, it's just, I don't know, it's just not food. It's just not real food. So, anyway, before I get too sidetracked on clean eating period, it's really important. We're eating too much. That's what I was going to say. We're eating too much of it. So if you're eating too much of food that your body doesn't know what to do with anyway, of course it's going to be hard to lose weight, and you may even be gaining weight. There's a lot of diet stuff out there that actually makes you gain weight. It's a marketing ploy. So again, one of the biggest things I want you to take away from this week is reading the label, reading the ingredients, not just the label to see like how many carbs and even how many calories. I haven't counted calories after that 10 months of using MyFitnessPal. I kind of just switched my thinking to focusing on eating whole foods as much as possible, and clean eating, which meant reading the ingredients. And once you eat more nutritionally, the calories don't matter, because the food you're eating is very, very pure. But you don't have to eat clean 100% of the time to make a difference. And that's the other big takeaway. I don't want you to think, oh, I can't do this for every meal. I'm still going to a hamburger every once in a while are still going to want to eat at Jack's, or, and that can still happen once in a while, but that just doesn't need to be like your main thing. And I was losing weight like crazy and still eating pasta and still eating pizza and still eating hamburgers and French fries, but I was making it, and I was doing it in a healthier way, which made all the difference for me. Because when you eat out, you don't know how their food's prepared a lot of times. More than likely, you don't know what's packed into the meat. You don't know how it was prepared, probably with tons of oil. And there's specific ways that you can ask for your food to be cooked a little healthier at some places. So we can talk about that later on too if y'all want to know more. But today what I want the focus to be on is I want you to take away that nutrition is the foundation. For you to be motivated to eat healthier, you have to understand why. Because I could give you every meal plan I have, and I have tons. And there's also tons more on Beachbody On Demand. You can get access to all of them that are connected to every workout program on there. And there's actually a cooking show on there with one of the trainers and her chef brother, and they have created hundreds of recipes, and they actually do like a short little cooking segment for a ton of the recipes, so you can actually see them cooking it, which is really cool. But I could give you access to that, or I could give you every meal plan I've ever made, but I found that you're not going to follow it unless you understand why. Why is it important to eat this versus that? To, make your hamburger at home is different than buying one out. Making your own salad dressing is different than buying the bottled stuff. All that stuff adds up because you eat several times a day. So even if you're not to a place where you can work out consistently yet, that's okay. If you change your nutrition, you're still going to make a difference in the way you feel, in the way your body is shaped, in your energy level, and then your weight. Because and I'm not the only one. This is what I help people do every day, is get their nutrition on track. So, it being the foundation, you have to learn about it. You have to also be your biggest advocate, your own investigator. Because like I said, there's a million different ways out there to eat. Clean eating to me though, it's like the basis. And that just means eating less processed foods, more whole foods. Your body will recognize it. Eating things that don't have sugar listed as an ingredient. And there's like 40 something names for sugar. So you have to learn about all the different ways sugar can be labeled. High fructose corn syrup being one of them that you should always avoid if possible. And just consuming less processed stuff, because most of that does have the sugar added. That'll make a huge difference, I promise. So I follow the 80-20 rule as far as percentage with clean eating. On a normal basis, I eat 4 or 5 meals a day, sometimes 6, and I try to make at least 4 of those meals clean. So that way, if I end up eating dinner out with people, or, if I just have to phone it in because it's been a busy day and I didn't plan ahead, as long as I'm eating healthy throughout the day, it's okay if we end up eating frozen pizza for dinner. Sometimes, obviously not every night, but that happens. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to eat 100% vegan and cook every single meal yourself and never eat out again. But I can tell you, if you're worried about eating healthier costing money, if you're eating out more than 2 times a week and, kind of like slow down on that and spend that money on healthier food, you will end up saving money and you will feel so much better and you will start seeing weight loss because, it's just really hard to eat out every day and lose weight. It's just really hard. And you have to be very disciplined to make the healthier choices for that to happen. So before I get too far off a tangent on that, back to the main thing that I will advise you to eat. And this is like his main sentence, his favorite sentence in the whole book, one of his favorite. I'm going to distill this entire book into a single sentence. Eat a wide variety of whole, fresh, clean foods, mostly vegetables, fruits, beans, nuts, seeds, grains, sprouts, and healthy fats. Eat a lot of it raw. Okay, it took him 2 sentences, but it's really that simple. And, if you don't want to give up meat, that's totally fine. Just start eating less of it, like total quantity, and get more quality meat. Know where it comes from. It's really hard. We live in a small town. If you're in Center with me, I lived in Nashville for 8 years, and I had a little more access to higher quality meats and stuff like that. You can get a lot of that stuff around here. It's just not as easy, but you can, and you should kind of learn like where your food comes from. Get the leaner cuts, like if you're going to still eat pork chops, or get the center cut. Same with bacon. If you're still going to eat pork, get the center cut bacon. It's less fatty of the cuts of any of those. And then, you can get leaner beef and just use less of it. I can make a pound last for a couple meals for my family because we just use a little bit for taste. But now, after going 3 weeks without eating meat, except I did cave, of course, and have a bite of Chick-fil-A chicken when I was trapped in a car coming back from a road trip with my family, and my husband got Chick-fil-A for them, and I had a salad waiting on me at home, but we were like an hour away, and I totally had a bite of his chicken. I'm not even sorry about it, but I'm just saying, though, I feel good not eating animal protein, so I'm not going to say I'm never going to eat it again, but I'm totally okay not planning to. But if I do, it's totally fine. But I am going to continue focusing on quality. So like I said, our cells are constantly dying and being regenerated. So, when you see somebody that's been eating healthier, drinking more water, all that stuff, like their skin starts getting better, maybe like their hair is a little shinier. You can tell like maybe their skin is smoother, like less cellulite and stuff. Because I actually lost cellulite when I lose weight, when I get leaner. If you build more muscle mass, which is very important, especially after the age of 35, our bone density starts going down. So we need stronger bones, stronger muscle mass. And then that also helps you burn more fat all day long, the more muscle you have. So you don't bulk up as a woman, you actually get leaner. But your cells are constantly regenerating, and so you're literally creating your body every day with what you're eating. So it can take about 24 to 33 days, I think, for most cells to regenerate. So that's why I try to get people to give clean eating and all that stuff at least a month before you kind of notice some big differences, because a lot of your cells by then will have started to regenerate. And so that's why people who are really sick, it actually kind of all stems from their nutrition. If they started eating better, like less sugar, more whole foods, maybe eating more often instead of eating like 2 or 3 huge meals in a day, they ate 4 to 6 small meals a day, and drinking more water and less soda and less sweet tea, your body is making new cells created by the healthy stuff that it recognizes, and it's like, hey, I got the vitamins and the minerals that I've been craving, and it makes healthier cells. Your organs are actually repairing itself the right way. They're actually functioning the right way. It's all because of your nutrition. And so, you can battle a lot of sickness. It talks about heart disease being a huge killer in our country, and how most everybody that suffers from heart disease, it's because of their nutrition being poor. So if you have better nutrition, you can better fight stuff that could take your life one day. So I definitely feel like our family hardly ever gets sick because I just don't buy things often. I mean, we still have candy around. We still have cake around sometimes, I still buy regular birthday cake for my kids and stuff like that. We still have pizza, like I said, sometimes, and all that stuff. And I eat chocolate. I eat dark chocolate because it does have some antioxidants in it. Cocoa is a superfood. So anyway, those, eating those things more often, it makes your body just function better. So if you're suffering from poor digestion, if you're, having any kind of heart issues, or, even like kidney and liver issues, all that stuff, it can be improved with better nutrition. I sleep better when I'm eating better. I have more energy and feel like working out when my nutrition's on point, and those kind of go hand in hand. So even though I'm not telling you have to go all in right now and start eating healthy and working out today to make it happen, always start with nutrition, but it kind of goes hand in hand for me when I want to eat healthier. When I do eat healthier, I want to work out because I feel like it. So there's no magic potion. There's no magic pill. I do drink Shakeology. Darren Aline was the co-creator of Shakeology because it is like the healthiest shake I can find out there. And it just helps me get extra superfood nutrition in, and the amino acids that our bodies don't create are in there, and just tons of other stuff that I wouldn't get from my food otherwise, that helps me fill in the gaps. And it's made the biggest difference in my immunity, which is another thing that nutrition helps with. And it's really helped with my overall energy, because I'm getting those nutrients that my body craves. So the reason we have cravings for like sugar and, like chocolate or pizza or fried foods or whatever, it's because our brain kind of tricks us because it tastes good, like immediately, like we have those like sensory stuff that goes off. Even though I always feel so sluggish, like after I eat, some of those like fatty foods or too much sugar or whatever. But, it's just like at first we think, oh, we satisfied that craving, but our body is still sitting there going, okay, like all our cells are like, okay, where are those nutrients that I thought you were giving us with that food you're eating? They're not coming, and you keep having those cravings. And sugar actually is an addictive substance, to your brain. So it's really hard to, once you start eating sugar, it becomes even more addictive. So it's really hard not to continue eating it. So anyway, if you suffer from cravings, it's a bona fide sign that your nutrition level is lower than it needs to be. I can resist so much more food that I don't even want. Like I was saying, I just finished 3 weeks of eating, really clean for the most part. And I did cave and have cake yesterday at a birthday party we were at, because it's made by some local friends. When they make their cakes, I don't get them very often, and I have to have at least a small piece just because it does taste delicious. But for the most part, like now, since yesterday was the last day of my plan, I could eat ice cream and candy and all that stuff if I wanted to today, but I don't even want to. They sent us home with some of that cake, and I might have another few bites of it, but for the most part, like it's not like I want to go crazy and eat whatever I want to. So that it's just a testament, but you have to get there. You have to give it time, and you have to, not be so hard on yourself that you have to eat 100% healthy, every day for this to work. That's it. You don't have to do that, but you have to constantly be learning, constantly be trying new foods, and just to keep, keep growing your repertoire with healthy foods, because there's a ton out there. I mean, I'm telling you, me following this reset, it's gives you exactly what to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, and snack options for the afternoon. But there were foods that I had never tried until I did this program. And even the third time doing it, there was stuff that I didn't try the first 2 times that I did it that I tried this time that I end up liking. And there's just a lot to explore out there. So we really need to eat more fresh foods. Even some of the fresh stuff you buy in the grocery store, we don't know how long ago it was picked, like where it came from, how long it sat on a truck. So if you can grow your own garden, that's the best alternative. If you have a friend that has a garden, that's the next best. If you have farmers markets, if you know where the food in your grocery store's produce section comes from, that's even better. Frozen is your next best bet. Because they actually flash freeze the food, so its nutritional content is frozen, so you don't lose all that. So as soon as a food is picked, it starts losing its nutritional value. So the stuff that was picked and you buy it fresh at the grocery store, you have no idea, how long ago it was picked and how much nutrition has been left from it. When you heat foods, the nutritional value starts to deplete. So that's the reason why eating raw food is so, important to do. Like salads are important because you're not cooking anything, and therefore all the foods that you're eating are maintaining their nutritional content. So it all comes down to the nutritional value of the foods, not the calories, and all that stuff. So you really need to focus on overall nutrition of each thing you eat. So while eating a sweet potato and you have no idea how long ago it was picked, it's still a better choice than eating a hot dog or whatever, even though the nutritional content maybe is depleted some. So frozen is your next best bet, and then try to avoid canned at all costs. So that's kind of like the order for that. And then variety, again, is super important. Try new things, because There's just foods from all over. We can kind of get in a rut, and you can kind of get bored with clean eating and be more tempted to cheat if you're kind of bored with what you're eating. So that's when I would encourage you to try more variety of healthy foods. And, you know, there's a lot out there that, like, certain minerals or vitamins, or just different nutrients that each of these different cool foods have that you might not ever eat. And then you start eating them on a regular basis, and, you know, maybe you stop getting sick so much, or, you know, maybe your immunity, maybe your immunity goes up, or maybe your allergies get better because you're eating food that's like indigenous to where you live, and it's helping you fight off, you know, the allergies that would normally happen because you're kind of like putting them in your body. There's just a lot of cool things that can happen when you add variety of really healthy foods into your diet. So let me make sure I cover all my bases with the main things on this. If y'all have any questions about anything I've said in any of the videos, comment under the video, and I can continue to answer questions. So like I said, with salads, it's one of the best ways to get like variety with some crazy different like nuts and seeds, and sprouts, and just all kinds of veggies that you just want to throw into a salad. It's a great way to get that variety in, especially in a raw way. But I don't even eat a salad every single day. But you can do different things with it every time you eat it, so that, again, you don't get burned out on eating salads. So if you're going to use a bigger bowl for one of your meals, make it be a salad. For everything else, start using a smaller plate. Start using a smaller bowl. Try not to go back for seconds. Like, all of that stuff will add up over time. Even if you don't eat super healthy, but just eat less of what you're eating, that matters too. So keep clean eating in the forefront of your mind. Think more natural. Think more whole foods based. Less processed foods. Less eating from a box or a bag, and more eating from whole foods that you actually have to cut up and, you know, create something with. There's ways around having to spend hours in the kitchen, though. I promise I'm not super fancy with my meals. You know, I'm okay being kind of basic with it just because I know it's healthy. So even though it might not be the prettiest, even though it maybe could even be a little more tasty or a little more, even more nutritious, I'm just doing the best I can to get it into my body, for it tasting as good as I can make it then, and just do it, and to avoid eating out somewhere or, you know, whatever. Because I don't buy a lot of sauces. I don't use flavoring packets anymore. You know, I use a lot of olive oil, coconut oil, Himalayan salt or sea salt, and black pepper. We have a ton of seasonings like garlic and onion powder and turmeric and, you know, ginger, curry. Let's see. I don't know. There's just a whole list. Plus like the parsley and the basil and cilantro and all that stuff. It goes a long way to flavor dishes without adding any, you know, calories or mystery ingredients. So we want to eat less mystery ingredients and eat more natural whole foods the way they were intended. So I know that some of this might sound a little overwhelming right now, and I hope it doesn't. But I promise by the end of the week you'll be more confident with it. We'll talk a little bit more about GMOs and why eating organic is really important. I don't eat everything organic. I would if I had endless amounts of money, and I'm telling you that you could eat more organic than you probably are right now, easier than you think you could, because I know that happened for me and for several people I've worked with. You just have to be kind of choosy on what's most important to be organic. If something has a peel that you're not going to eat, like a banana, or stuff that you know like is not a heavily pesticide crop, then you can not worry as much about organic. But if it's grown in the ground, like potatoes, carrots, onions, I think zucchini is a big one, even though that grows on top of the ground. But those are kind of like your big, there's like a dirty dozen list of 12 foods that are like usually the you know, most heavily pesticide used crops. So if you eat those organic, you're doing better than if nothing at all. Even if you just eat a few of those organic. And then there's the Clean 15 that you don't have to worry. Like, they're always like pretty clean. You don't have to buy organic. So there's just some stuff I don't waste my money on buying organic. Sometimes I buy like organic whole wheat pasta. So I mentioned that I still eat, you know, pasta. I do pasta bakes for my family, but I use the whole wheat noodles, or you can use brown rice noodles or quinoa noodles, or there's like all these different ways to still eat similar foods to what you know you love now, but just change them a little bit to make them more clean. And that's one of my favorite things to do. So if you have like a list of your favorite recipes that you know aren't clean at all, I can help you make them more clean. So yeah, GMOs are technically, you know, are unsafe for our bodies, genetically modified organisms. So they've just been altered. They're not like real naturally occurring foods, and they've got stuff in them that our bodies don't recognize. So there's a lot of reasons why eating raw is really healthy for you. I won't go into any more of that right now, but just know that every bite counts. So as long as you have more healthy bites than unhealthy bites, it's going to make a difference. And that's what I want to make sure that you feel comfortable doing by the end of this week. So to wrap up, let's aim for a daily diet made of mostly fresh, whole vegetables, fruits, beans, nuts, seeds, and healthy fats. Meat should be an occasional meal at most, and from creatures that are organically grown and humanely raised. Fish should always be wild caught, not farm raised. Whole food, not pills, should be our primary source of our most important nutrients. So while sometimes supplementation might be good for certain things, you cannot rely on just supplements to get your nutrition. And you rather spend the money now on healthy foods than spend the money on medicine later in life. Because like I said, you're constantly creating your cells and how your body works, and you want to keep it tuned up and working well for you. Eat at least one meal a day of raw veggies or fruit, and it's why salads and smoothies are so important to a healthy diet, because of the raw factor. Food grown organically and close to home is the absolute best thing we can eat. That's a near to nutritional perfection as we're going to get. Variety isn't just the spice of life. It also ensures that we get all the different micronutrients we need. Every time you see a new type of fruit, vegetable, or bean, give it a chance. Eat more sprouts. They're a lot easier to grow at home and are a source of powerful goodness. Except if you're pregnant. Don't eat sprouts if you're pregnant. Let your sense be your guide. Eat real food and that is beautiful and that smells good. So you're going to figure out like what you like and what you don't like. And it's just kind of going to be trial and error to kind of try a few things. Like I said, my taste buds took a while to change, but once I started eating more clean, the other stuff didn't taste good to me anymore. Like, there's no way I would go back to spending, $8 on one of those 2-serving pasta meal bags from the store when I can buy whole wheat noodles, a jar of clean sauce, and either veggies or meat to go in it for the same price, and it can feed my whole family, not just 2 of us at a time, and have enough for leftovers. So one of my big tips for clean eating too is, if I'm going to take time to make healthy food, I'm going to make enough to be able to eat on it more than once. So I love making enough to have as a healthy lunch at least the next day, or another day during the week, whatever. But just at least one more meal out of it for me. And then my family knows not to touch it because it is my healthy leftovers. So when I get hungry, I can just warm it up and eat it. And it's a no-brainer healthy meal for me another day out of the week. So we'll talk more about that later in the week. And if there are no questions, I'll let you go for today. If you have any questions about what I said, drop it in the comments below this video. Let me know when you've watched it, okay? So this is just day 1. Like I said, I'll leave the group open for a couple of weeks after this week is over. And I want every person to comment when they've watched this video. And there'll be one every day this week. So Thursday is when Darren, the author of Super Life, will be... we did a live interview with him, and we're going to post the recording on Thursday. So, yeah, and it's amazing. He's got a lot of information. So follow him on Instagram at Superlife. His Facebook page is called Super Life or Super Life Living. And just get ready to learn more. Tomorrow is all about hydration. Have a good rest of your Monday.